Reign of Z. Dematus. The Reign of Z.
Dematus.
They're amazing, awesome. They have the screams, the singing, and just like really awesome jams. Can we talk about like your vocal techniques?
Sure.
Like from the screaming and singing, like just both, and like kind of compare like maybe how you learned, like you just randomly did it in a garage.
I want to hear that, because you learned how to do it in the garage. Like,
yeah, it was funny because I used to be in a band and they kicked me out because I couldn't scream, but they didn't tell me. Like I saw my band's name on a flyer and I was like, we're playing, and I like went to go see us perform, and they had a new vocalist up there, and I was like so hurt by it,
so sad.
and like really heartbroken, because like I was like, man, I don't know how to scream. We got so tired of like not having dedicated people that they were like, just do it, and I was like, I can't do it. And so we started playing this weird circus song that was just like do 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 do, and I was just like, I just started screaming out of nowhere, like jokingly, like it just happened out of nowhere. As weird as it sounds, like literally, I guess threw away all the overthinking, because if you overthink it, it's like you do it wrong. It's just like I was just like kind of like how I tell people, it's like you get frustrated, we're like, oh, that's like how I started. It was just like, you know, like just kind of, instead of like screaming that high horror scream, it's just like kind of be like, oh, like you're annoyed. Start there and build up to it, and it ended up working. Like
so you're kind of self-taught.
Yeah, I am all self-taught.
That's awesome.
And it was just like I built up to it, and then it's just playing around. I think it's just like finding and playing noises, you know, like just don't take it so serious. Like don't be like, just kind of like start there, like where you're annoyed, like that growl that you always get when you're like frustrated about something in life, like oh, and then push lower with your diaphragm, and then versus over here, I can just feel myself kind of like going
sink
low, you know, and it comes out like super duper low, and the guys are like, so I'm curious about you. How did you find out that you had this metal voice with it?
A lot of anger issues. No, I'm actually more learned, if anything. So I was in college, and I was singing Flyleaf's Break at karaoke, and it was kind of like a freak thing, you know. She's like, I will break. Yeah. And I just did it, and then I kind of startled myself, and I was like, oh, well, that escalated quickly. So I wanted to be very on top of health and technique, because in our genre we hear all the time of people blow out their voices, they lose their voices, they have to have surgery. I'm like, screw all that, I'm not doing any of that. So I started training with a vocal coach in college, and she taught me how to find screams on a note and then try to create sounds.
That's awesome.
Notes on a piano. So I started doing that, and that's kind of how I found my range and also been able to sustain it. I still go to voice lessons weekly. I am not backtracked. I would just like to say it for the class. I do them all live.
That's true. Yeah, like, because a lot of people ask me that same question. They're like, were you using a vocal effect back there? No, like that is like all me, like sound, like using my gut, pushing, like, and it's not, I'm not using any effects at all. That's like all me. Like everyone's just like, oh, that's not her doing the screaming and then angelic like sounding voice. I'm like, that is straight up me live. No backing tracks.
Same. We just have backing tracks for like the different harmonies, because I tell people this. Can't sing 5 harmonies. I would love to. I would be very famous if I could.
Yeah, super
talented. But can't do that, so I need the backing tracks for that. As far as I don't use the tracks, it's all me, and I do it night after night after night after night.
Do you each want to scream a line from one of your songs? I don't know. Or sing one, like sing a line and then scream one for each of you.
Okay, so I'm gonna do like a line from like Bring Out the Dead, and then I'll like sing that like, I choked till got bad, and I shot to the head, and all addicted to death, all for drugs. Lean on the pavement, is this a dream?
I love that.
It's so weird.
It shows like the diversity.
Cellophane can't suffocate me, kill this pain that loves to hate me. We decay, we're self-defeating. Cut and run, 'cause time is fleeting. And cellophane can't suffocate me now. Cellophane! Don't suffocate! Don't suffocate! Kill the pain!
Thanks for coming to my party.
Can you guys show me like any vocal warm-ups that you have for when you're screaming?
What I always do, which I learned from taking just vocal warm-ups from school and also from Zena screaming, is how like she went like Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z. But that's what I kind of like do. Like I'll have my guitar and I'm like Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z A A A oh, and like I'll just like go through all of them and go higher and higher and like lower and lower.
I love it. No, so it's weird. So I do everything but screaming when I warm up. So a lot of times with my specific screams, because they're lower, they come from the chest. So I do a lot of like lip trills. They always hear me backstage because I'll be and then it'll basically progress into Zia, and then I'll go lower and go and that's kind of how I'll start to find my my scream is within my chest voice, because a lot of my screams are lower and they come from my chest voice. But I'm a soprano, so don't try to figure that one out. So that's kind of like my process in the back. I don't really necessarily do screams when I warm up. It's more of a kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's
definitely
a nice conversation piece when people.
Yeah,
are walking
definitely
by.
with me too. Like whenever I'm like warming up, I just run through like vocal scales. Like there's no screaming until like get on stage that are like release onto the ground.
Right. Because you also don't want to save it almost for the audience. You kind of don't want them to know what's going to come out of your mouth if they've never heard you.
It made me laugh. Like whenever for the longest time I used to have that wireless headset for the while, because the guys were like, it was like back when there was like so much pressure. Like you have to like have stage presence and do this and do that. I'm like, dude, like I'm playing guitar and I'm doing vocals, and now you want me to like headbang at the same time? Like,
yes.
So like I had a headset and I was like
and do kicks.
Yeah, I was like headbanging, and I remember the first song I always like to come out with like Bringing Out the Dead. So it's like I started out screaming. I'm like headbanging, screaming, playing the guitar at the same time, and people were like, where is that sound coming from? And then like the guy said that their favorite part was like watching people realize it was like coming from me. They're like, like what? Because I'll like start singing, they're like looking, and there's like Brian's not moving his mouth, Ryan's not moving their mouth. They're like, what the fuck is this?
And you're like, surprise, that's me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get this too, but I think a lot of times, like when people talk to me afterwards, they're like, "You're so soft-spoken."
I do. It's so funny. Like whenever we're in the studio recording, and I'm like, "Roar!" And they're like, "Oops!" Like, like they laugh so hard because I'm like down there like doing these slower growls, like, and then it's like I'll like laugh because I'll fuck up like, but they're like, "What the fuck is that?" It's like so dimensional, like, roar, roar.
That I'm working on for our next single is some vocal fries. I don't know if you played with those or not. So a lot of times, like with Lizzie Hale, you hear a lot of like crazy, that kind of thing.
I wish
that's like what I'm working on. So I've been working on, actually today I worked with my vocal coach singing Hailstorms at the Rock Show. She does a lot of that, high belty and adds like some vocal fries. That's what I'm working on. It's definitely not pretty yet, but I'm working on it.
That's pretty cool though, because I always like the girls that have that rock voice and stuff, like where, because I can't do that. My singing is like singing and then I scream and I like that edgy like rock vocals and stuff. But one thing that I'm working on is that I want to throw into the song is that puke scream where it's like, bleh. I always hear like metal bands do that. I was like, I have to throw that in there. I have to throw a puke scream in there.
Now I'm like, really, I'm into it. I fully support this.
Then you gotta do a breakdown right after.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
You should. I think that's great. So we do, well, we're challenging ourselves.
Yes,
I think that's
yes.
super important.
And Brian wants me to do more solos. Like, I don't know why, like, I got so far away from throwing solos into my songs, but it's just, like, I guess it was, like, being distracted by accomplishing everything else. But Brian says he wants, after this set of music that we come out, he says he wants me to start adding, like, more guitar solos. I used to love them a lot, but it's, like, also hard to perform live because it's, like, it's just us three, and it's, like, sometimes it's just weird just having the bass carry the music
Sure.
when I'm soloing. Like, it's just like, yeah, we pulled it off several times before live, but it's just like, it just still makes me kind of like cautious. Like, it's gonna be weird.